Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel. Today we got another top 5. This time we are talking about me. We're not talking about statistics or anything like that. We're talking more about myself. And so what we got is my top 5 most played tanks. So we're going to talk about my top 5 most played tanks and why they are my most played tanks. Now, a couple of these have not gone up for years. Like, I haven't played them for years, but yet they are still in my top 5. Most of them I have good reason. I have good reason why these are my most played tanks. So coming in at number 5 with 1,225 battles is, of course, the STB. Now, again, it's a great medium. It's not my favourite medium. There are probably one of my worst, actually, in tier 10. But overall, it is a fantastic medium tank in tier 10. Now, the reason why this is my most played medium in the game, even above things like the Leopard, above things like the E50M and the T62, and that's because back in the day, I had a target, and my target was to get a mastery badge on every single tank that I owned, and I actually succeeded. You know, I completed that, but the thing with the STB, it was like a jinx tank for me. It took me ages, around almost 400 battles to ace this tank. It was the longest it's taken me to ace a tank in the entire game, and it was very, very frustrating. And ever since then, I've been playing it, and it's a go-to tier 10, to be fair. I kind of like it. It's decent on a ridge, very good on a ridge. It's got a nice turret. So yeah, that's probably why it is my most played medium tank in the entire game. So let's move on to tank number 4. Tank number 4 is the Grill, and again, it's one of my favourite tank destroyers. I love the Grill, honestly. I just love the play style of the tank, where you can sit at the back of the map, you can camp, you can get around the map very, very quickly. I wouldn't be too aggressive in the tank because, of course, it has no armor, and you can really be bullied if you're getting rushed by medium tanks. But I think the gun is great, the speed is great, and overall, it is one of my favourite tank destroyers in the game. Of course, you have the Waffle as well, but yeah, it is one of my go-to tanks just to have a bit of fun, not just to do damage, but to have a little bit of fun. It is one of my go-to tanks. Now, 1,409 battles in this tank, so that's always going to go up. Like, that's always going to go up. There's some tanks on this list that you're going to see in the next 3 that are my most played, but they're going to stay around what they are now. They're going to stay what they are around about now, and they're not really going to move up anymore. But there's reason why I had so many battles in them, and something like the Grill I'm going to continue to play. I absolutely love it. I'm always going to love it. Again, I love the play style of it. I love the gun. I love the speed, the penetration, the alpha. I love everything really about the tank, obviously apart from the armor, but the armor is still very troll because of the gun. How many times have you shot a Grill's gun with HE and you've done absolutely no damage at all? Loads and loads and loads of times. So the Grill is one of my favorite tank destroyers in the game. It's not my favorite, but it is up there, especially when it comes to tech tree, and it's going to continue to be that for many, many years to come. So let's move on to tank number 3. So number 3, we are dropping down a few tiers. We've gone from tier 10 to tier 4, and it is the Lux. Now, I've actually had 1,450 battles in this little tier 4 with good reason. Those of you probably that hasn't been in the game for a long time would never ever know what this tank was just like when it was released. It was broken to hell. Honestly, you play 2 of these in a platoon. As you can see now, it only has 2 shells that fire, I think, 2 each. Back in the day when this was first released, it had 5. It was crazy. It fired, like, you shoot once and it fired like 10 times almost. Or no, you shoot once, it fired twice, but you could do that 5 times. So I think it had like 10 shells. It was crazy. Honestly, you do 2 of these in a platoon. We were doing like 20, 30, 40 battles at a time win, like all wins. Very rare you would lose in this game back in the day when there were 2 of them. Against tier 5s, no problem. And the best thing also about it back then is there was +2, -2 matchmaking, but because it's tier 4, +2, -2 only sort of happened when it comes to tier 5 and above. So you'd only ever see tier 5. And if there's 2 of them, doesn't matter. Absolutely does not matter. It was insane. I got a lot of win rate from this tank. I never played it for win rate. I never really, when I was playing this tank, I never played for stats. Never even knew about stats. I played this solely for the fun factor. It was fun. You had mega fun. And when you're winning 20, 30, 40 battles at a time, crazy, mega fun. So yeah, I haven't played this for years. Like, they nerfed it years ago, but yet it is still my third best or third most played tank in the game. Let's move on to tank number 2. So we have the IS-3 Defender. Now again, just like the Lux, there is a reason why I had so many games in this, because it was the first of its kind. You know, the IS-3 Defender, we had the IS-3 in the tech tree, but we never had an auto-loader IS-3. It was the first kind of auto-loader in the game. Never see it before. It was crazy back then. Like, again, even +2, -2, like, you didn't mind come up against tier 10s in this, but when you come up against tier 6s, it was OP. And the fact that Wargaming brought this out in the event where you could get it for free as well, didn't have to pay for it. They didn't have many, they only had a certain number of people that can win the tank. I was one of those, so I did manage to get the tank for free as well. And honestly, 2 of these in a platoon was just insane. Like, new players in the game now will never understand these tanks, just how they were. Like things like the Charioteer, when that first come, the Lux, the Leopard, the SP1C, those were all crazy tanks when they first in the game. Now the IS-3 Defender, it isn't special. Like, it isn't special at all. It could still do the job, of course, but it's not a tank that I would choose to play in tier 8. There are so many better heavies in the game, and yeah, I haven't really played it for years. The odd game when I'm making a video, yeah, but it is still the second most played tank of mine, and that is at 1453, so only 3 battles more than that Lux. So let's move on to my highest played tank, which is almost 1,000 battles more than this tank here. And of course, it is no other than the Death Star, the FV215B183. Again, it's not a tank I really ever play now, unless I am making a video. Never sit there and think, you know what, I'm going to play the Death Star. It doesn't really appeal to me anymore, and that's probably because I've just had so many battles in it. Now, looking at my list, this is my most played tank. So I've got over 70,000 battles, and my most played tank is only 2,400. I've seen a lot worse. I've seen someone, most of you maybe remember, having played, I think his name's Polish, is it Polish Punisher or something like that? I think it's Polish Punisher. He's had hundreds of thousands of games, and the T62A, he's got like 60,000 battles alone. The Defender, he's got 20, 30,000 battles alone. Like, it's crazy. So when you look at mine, my most played tank being at 2,400 battles, I don't think that is bad at all. And I'm sure this will be beaten one day. I don't know by which tank, but I'm sure one day this will be beaten by a better tank. But who knows? Of course, it is my most played for a reason, and that is the Alpha. Again, back in the day, you used to just be able to sit at the back of the map. Sit at the back of the map, unspotted, and just farm. Absolutely farm. Wargaming then, of course, soon nerfed it, so you could no longer do that. You'd be spotted from like half the map away. And yeah, for me, it just ruined the tank, really. People, I would have said it was never overpowered in any way. but some people were calling for this tank to be removed, but and that's mainly because of that alpha. I'm glad they didn't remove it. I'm glad it is still here. It's a tank that everybody wants. It's a tank that everybody plays, but yeah, I've just lost interest in the Death Star. It's not really a tank for me anymore. There's better tanks out there, more fun tanks out there, but of course, this still could be the most fun tank in the game when you're doing 1500 damage per shot. So let me know, are you surprised at any tank in this list? Obviously the tier 4 Lux, it was just one of the most broken tanks to ever enter World of Tanks Blitz. That is why I played it so much. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. I'm meadsy69, and I will catch you all soon. Bye bye.